for questions is Senator Hawley. He's returned, and if no other additional senators join us, it'll be Senator Blackburn after him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Judge, congratulations on your nomination. Thanks for being here. I want to come back to an issue that Senator Grassley raised, and I just want to be sure I understand your position. I'm thinking about these briefs that you signed in two different cases, one in North Carolina, one in Texas. Let me ask you about the North Carolina case first. You argued there that Title VII prohibits disadvantaging someone because of gender nonconformity, regardless of the birth-assigned gender or current gender identity. The brief also suggested that privacy and safety concerns underlying North Carolina's proposed bathroom separation of boys and girls are unfounded, and that the state had not demonstrated any public safety risk. In the Texas litigation, you said there was no data or tangible evidence in support of the claim that allowing people to use bathrooms corresponding with their gender identity will lead to crime in restrooms. Now, I have to ask you, in light of what we are seeing in Loudoun County, there are reports about this in other places, but it's particularly troubling in light of the recent events in Loudoun County, where a boy in late May was sexually assaulted a 9th grade girl in her school's restroom after he identified as being gender fluid. He was transferred to another school where a second assault occurred just earlier this year. Do you stand by your comments in these briefs that there is no evidence of violence or crime in restrooms by allowing biological males to use biological females' restrooms?
Thank you for the question, Senator Hawley. As I explained to Senator Grassley, in every case that I had as an advocate, it was my duty to represent the views of my clients. And that's what I did in those briefs, which were filed when I worked for the New York State Solicitor General's office. Now, I was not familiar before this morning with the Loudoun County incident, but again, what I would say is this, that I understand well, being a judge now, the difference between being an advocate, advocating for your clients, and being a judge who is duty-bound, who takes an oath, and one that I take very seriously, to apply the law to the facts and the record, and to review each matter individually as it comes before you. And that's what I would do were that issue to come before me, if confirmed.
Yeah, thank you for that. I understand that, and I appreciate your role as an advocate. I'm just curious if you stand by these comments. Do you agree still today that there is no data or evidence in support of the claim that allowing people to use bathrooms corresponding with their gender identity will lead to increased violence or crime in restrooms? I mean, do you think that that's accurate? You signed those statements. You filed that brief. Do you think that that's right?
Thank you for that question, Senator Hawley. Again, at the time that I filed the briefs, I was representing clients zealously, as I was ethically bound to do. In a new case on new facts, I would have to analyze it based upon what was presented to me, or if sitting on appeal based on the record.
Well, and I'm asking you to do that now. I mean, I think this is important. You were actually counsel of record in the North Carolina case. You signed the brief in the Texas case. Now, I understand you're representing clients, but of course, I also understand you have a duty not to sign briefs that you think are unethical or that misrepresent facts. So I assume you think that the arguments made in these briefs were correct and accurate. You wouldn't have signed them. Certainly, you wouldn't have been counsel of record. These are quite dramatic claims that you made in both of these cases. And now we have reports in various parts of the country, but Loudoun County most immediately and most publicly, about assault by a biological male of a 9th grade girl, and then a second assault happening. It's exactly what you said in these briefs wouldn't happen. I just wonder, what would you say to the parents of this girl who was assaulted in a restroom at school? She's in 9th grade. I mean, would you maintain to them that their concerns are unfounded, and that they shouldn't be concerned about what happened. I mean, is that the message?
Thank you, Senator Hawley. Sitting here as a judge, my duty is to review the cases that come before me on the evidence that comes before me. I can't comment on a case that's pending, on a case that might come into my
Well, this case
courtroom.
isn't pending before you.
I can't comment on a case that's pending anywhere per the California Code of Judicial Ethics. So the only thing that I can tell you is, again, that I understand that.
So you know, my time's expired. And I don't mean to interrupt you, Judge. I've got to let somebody else ask questions. I just want to be clear. So you stand by these comments. You don't think that you stand by what you filed in these multiple different cases. You don't think you were wrong about that. You haven't changed your view. You wouldn't change anything that you said and that you filed. You put your name to.
So again, I, as an advocate, represented my clients. I didn't represent my personal views about issues in the same way that my personal views don't come into what I do as a judge. And I understand the difference between that advocacy role that I had then and the judicial role that I hold now.
Thank you. Senator